you about hair, how to do hair. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go over ways that I do hair. If you have an ongoing character, you want to go ahead and possibly do something that's a little easier to draw. So well, we've got to, he to consider kind of where the head is, and then just kind of build on top of it. So let's say if we were to do the curly hair, start here, just kind of you bring it around towards the back under the ear, and then kind of fill it in. Okay, so here you've got kind of a shape for hair. What I do is using this shape, you kind of put it in areas to give it more of a three-dimensional feel. Here you're almost by doing that, you're putting a ledge, which kind of makes this seem like it's inset a little bit more. Then also around kind of the edges or the areas, light would be hitting this from the top. So the areas below would be a bit darker. So you might want to throw in maybe a couple of curls in areas that might be darker in the hair. Okay. Okay, another way of doing different kind of hair here is, you can make it kind of wavy. We just kind of do some kind of crazy streaks. This is maybe like a surfer kind of guy. And then you give him his sideburns. And you don't really need to connect everything or feel that you need to connect everything. You just kind of highlight areas. And again, areas that you think the light would be hitting the least are the areas you want to kind of throw some texture in. You don't have to put the whole thing, texture on everything. Just areas you think would do it. Now here there'd be a part. So sometimes you just kind of throw some lines in there to suggest a part. And there you go. There you got that. That's a whole different hairstyle. Like I said, you could just kind of keep playing around with shapes. There's different ways you can do this. And you go ahead and you darken up certain areas. You can also, as far as what I do, to get the same effect, you go with a thicker brush. If you want to darken up the hair, you just kind of fill it in. And because hair has a sheen to it generally, I usually leave the top parts white. So just kind of fill it in here. And I leave a little white at the top. And do styles or something, I can give them like a little bit of a kind of a wavy thing there. Now if this was a African American character, let's do this real quick. So there's different things you can do. Small, circular. Just little small circular things to tight to the skull, kind of. Not overdo it, just a little bit, just like that. Here, and you can really kind of go crazy with it and do all sorts of shapes. I mean, not to worry too much about it. I mean, like I did just there. And my brush is kind of thick, but bring it back down. But some free-handing it a little bit. Look at some hairstyles around people that you know, or you know, you might be able to do that. All right, so you have kind of your basic, quick, drawn female head. They're a bit more majestic usually. The hair will come out a little farther, a lot more dramatic. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it. You know, I'm not a hairstylist by any means, but I did read somewhere that if you're going to be a cartoonist, you kind of have to be, you know, the author, director, actor, writer, you know, costume designer, you know, pretty much all the roles that one has in making a movie. You have to kind of fill those in your own little way, in your own little mini production here. Maybe some word bubbles. Let's say you have the box that you are going to do your cartoon in. And you're going to have two characters talking to each other. Well, you have to consider the fact that you're going to have to put word bubbles in here. So, the first character might fall here, and the second character might fall here. Now, that's not really perfectly centered, but it allows you to kind of create a word bubble here, and the reply word bubble here. So when you lay these out, you have to consider those things. You know, and consider space and balance. So this guy's talking to this guy, they're making a joke. Whatever relevant thing they might be discussing, this would be a good placement for it. So that's basically, the placement is very important. So you have to actually plan these things out instead of just jumping right in. So once you know your gag, you should start with understanding what it is you're going to do, not just start randomly drawing things and then hope you'll figure out something great to write. Because you have to consider the amount of verbiage and the amount of text that's going to be there. So whenever you draw anything, you need to consider the fact, if there's going to be verbiage, that it needs to have a home here. So if you have just one head talking, bring them over to one side so that you have room for whatever he's saying. Okay? So that's just basic placement of the word box.